Good morning, students of class 9. Welcome back to the online classes now. Today we'll do history, peasants and farmers. And we have reached 1.1, the time of open fields and commons. In our previous class we have talked about the peasants and farmers in the countryside of England, there was a system. The peasants and farmers were given a mixture of good and bad land, the plot of good and bad lands, so that there will be equality. Everyone will have the equal good and bad land. So they were given the lands, strips of land or plot of land at different places, and they used to cultivate there. Beyond that cultivated land were the common lands or the open lands, where all the villagers could go and graze their animals. They had an access to that land, and these, especially the poor people, the peasants who are very poor, they used to go there and graze their animals, hunt small rabbits, hunt animals, collect wild fruits and berries and roots to supplement their very little income. Let's see what happened after that. We'll do one by one, point by point. Remember the points. Now, number one, there are altogether 6 points. There are only 5, 6, 7 points, very short points with that. The common land beyond means further, beyond the cultivated area, the strips of land used to supplement means support, make up the little income of the peasants. The peasants were very poor. Their income was very poor because they used to work in the landlords' farms, in the fields, and their income was very little. And to make up that little income, supplement that little income, this common land played a very important role in their life. Now in the second point, they helped them to tide over, make up during bad times and crop failed. During bad times, during drought or when the crops failed, they had no income because they used to work in others' fields. They had no land. They were very poor. So when the crops failed, the landlords never paid them, so they could not work. They had very, very little income. So these common lands supplemented their little income. Number two, by 16th century, a change took place. What type of changes took place? A change took place in the economy of open field. The economy of open field. What is the meaning of economy of open field? Economy of open field means the peasant used to graze their animals, they used to hunt, and they used to survive on this common land. So the economy of the open field and common lands changed. What are the causes of these changes? The causes now we'll talk about. When the price of the wool went up in the international market, world market, the rich farmers wanted to expand their wool production and earn good profit. So the rich farmer, they decided now. So there is a demand for wool in the international market, and we can produce wool. We can keep sheep and produce wool and sell in the international market, and we'll earn a good profit. So they thought, and the rich farmers, they started enclosing the common land to keep their sheep. They enclosed large areas of common land and they raised sheep. And the common land were enclosed. Before, the land was not enclosed. Now enclosures started during 16th century for the production of wool by the rich farmers, and the poor peasants were driven out from there. So let's see now. The rich farmers were eager, anxious desirous to improve their sheep breeds. If the land is open, if they have occupied the common land, if the land is open, the sheep will mix up with the local sheep and production won't be good. So, to separate the local sheep and their good breed of sheep, they started enclosing by building growing hedges. Hedges means plants, thorny plants as fences. So, the rich farmers were eager to improve their sheep breeds and make sure good feed for them. They started feeding them properly. So, in order to earn more profit from wool production, they started controlling large areas of common land. So, large areas of common land which was open and had an access to all the villagers, peasants and all the villagers. Now, these rich farmers, they started enclosing the common land by building hedges and enclose them by growing hedges. Growing hedges means bushes for fence. They started growing thorny plants around their enclosed field so that the peasants would not enter, so that the local sheep would not enter and mix with their flock. So they started growing hedges around their holding. Holding means land which they occupied, enclosed lands. So most of the common lands were enclosed. There was a competition for enclosures by the rich landlords and farmers. What about the poor peasants? Where they will go now? How they will survive? So now they drove out the peasants. The peasants were chased away. They were driven out. Who had small cottages on the commons? These peasants, they had small cottages, small huts, so that they can stay there, graze their animals, hunt animals, collect wild fruits, roots, berries, and survive. They used to collect fuel wood from the forest, common forest. So we have discussed in our previous class. So these peasants, now they started suffering. They had a very hard time. So now during 16th century, enclosure took place for the production of sheep by the rich farmers. Remember, the question might be asked. So remember all these things, and to be continued. Now we'll continue more in our next class. This was for today, and go through it properly, understand the lesson, and go through the book as well. So that's all for today. We'll meet in the next class. Thank you for watching the video. Stay safe and keep on studying at home.